All right, this is Day34 Algorithms. When you run this, it runs the tests that I made and it shows you that it's not working. It says should print 5, should print 3, should print 1, should print 0. It's just printing 0 all the time. And then this says should be false, should be true, but it's always printing false. So sure, 2 of the tests look good, but we know in our hearts that they're not. So what I want you to do, part 1, write this method, counter, which returns how many times string 2 is found in, string 1, ignoring case. I'll fix that. So we're sending over string 1, we're sending over string 2, and we're supposed to return how many times string 2 occurs in string 1. And I just gave this return 0 here so that it wouldn't, compile and run the tests from default. But it also says ignoring case. So what I recommend is to say string 1 equals string 1 dot 2 lowercase. We're just going to make both of them lowercase so we don't have to worry about case. Now, we're going to do a loop, and we're going to go through and see how many times string 2 is in string 1. So I'm going to do for loop. And I equals 0. We're going to start at 0. I less than string 1 dot length. Now we have to take into account string 2 because we're going to be doing a substring call where we add the length of string 2. So we're going to have to subtract the length of string 2, and we have to go 1 bigger than that. And we're going to go up by 1 every time. And I'll talk about this. What if what if we were looking for the string CD in here? All right. So when I was 0, we would, I better finish and then we can talk about specific code here. So we will say, also we need a count variable. Keep track how many times we found something. So if str1.substring I plus str2.length, if that dot equals str2, and we're going to add 1 to the count variable. So I'll just put this on the next line so that it's easier to read. Okay, so first of all, let's see if it works. Before I explain to you how it works. We got 5, 3, 1, 0. Perfect. Yeah, this was all just part 1. Okay, so back to my example. We're looking for CD in this expression. So I is going to go from 0. I goes from 0 up to the length of string 1, which is 4, minus the length of string 2, which is 2. So that's down to 2, but the plus 1 makes it 3. So this is the number it has to be. I has to be less than. So I is going to be 0, and then it's going to be 1, and then it's going to be 2. Okay, so let's see how this works. When we come in here and do I plus length of string 2, the first time in the substring is 0, 2. So when you do substring 0, 2, you're going to get these 2 characters, A, B. That's not equal to CD, so it just goes on. The next time in, I is 1, and so it's going to do 1, 3, which gives us BC, which is not equal to CD, so it doesn't add 1 to the counter. Come back around, I is 2 now, and it does 2 plus 2 is 4. So when we do a substring 2 comma 4, that's okay. That's not out of bounds because it's always one less than the second number. That gives us CD, and the dot equals comes back true, and it counts it. And then on this example, it returns it. If you want to see my tests, I did this ABC thing looking for BC. Should get a 5, and I did some with some capital letters, and that should get a 3. And then this is just they're identical, and that should get a 1. And then this one FG is not in this string, so you should get a 0. Okay, so let's do part 2. Finish this method has X, which returns true if a given string contains at least one capital X and false otherwise. So what I did was made a for loop where we go through every single character for int I equals 0, I less than str.length, and I++. We don't have to do all that monkey business of making it, minus length or whatever, because we're just dealing with one character at a time. And we can just literally say if str.substring I, comma I plus 1, that's the current character. If that current character dot equals X, then we can literally just say return true, because we don't need to know how many there are or anything. That just ends execution of this method and returns true. If, however, it goes through the whole loop without ever returning true, then it gets down here and it returns false. So let's make sure that my tests work. Yeah, it worked fine. Another way to approach it would be to do a count variable, kind of like we did up top, and you could count how many capital X's you found, and at the bottom you could return true if the count was greater than 0. That'd be a perfectly fine way to do it. So I'm not going to judge you if you did it that way. I like this way because it's less complicated. And it does highlight that whole issue that when you say return, if you're inside of a loop and you are in a method and you say return, the loop stops operating. All that code in the method stops. You return back to whoever called you. In this case, down here, I did this line that says should be false, and then it says has X ABC because there's no capital X in there. And so it comes right back to here when it gets the false. And then right here, as soon as it gets to that X, it actually never checks the C character when we send this one over, because it found an X and it returned, came right there and printed. Yeah, anyway, that's how that works.